Hey Team Bio, welcome to your screencast introduction to cellular respiration. So, quick review of photosynthesis. As you all know, photosynthesis has three necessary ingredients. You need CO2, you need that you're going to get from the air, H2O, that's going to come into the plant from the soil, and then you need energy in the form of light. I'm trying a new pencil here, and that didn't work very well. Energy in the form of light energy, and then you're going to use that to make glucose, C6H12O6, and oxygen gas, which is a waste product. Now, cellular respiration, when we do complete aerobic cellular respiration, that is cellular respiration done in the presence of oxygen, we get complete combustion of glucose. So the cellular respiration equation is just the inverse of photosynthesis. We have C6H12O6 going in. This, remember, is glucose plus oxygen. And then out, we get CO2 as a gas, H2O, either as a gas or as a liquid, and energy out in the form of ATP. Yeah, I think that's all I want to say about this process. Okay, so cellular respiration, just like photosynthesis, could be broken down into its two component parts. We had the light dependent reactions, which led to the light independent reactions. Cellular respiration has a couple different steps, and I think it's easiest to present them as a flowchart. So, cellular respiration it starts with the process called glycolysis. And I'm going to change this to purple. Glyco meaning sugar, and lysis meaning to break or split. So glycolysis splits sugar. Glycolysis creates 2 ATP, not much, and it occurs in the cytoplasm. So all cellular respiration starts with glycolysis. Now, the cell kind of has a choice, or maybe it's not so much a choice, but there are two different conditions. If the cell is in aerobic conditions, it's going to go down this pathway, and if it's in anaerobic, it's going to go down this pathway. So a reminder, aerobic conditions mean that O2 is present, and anaerobic conditions mean that oxygen is absent. So in the presence of oxygen, this set of pathways will happen, and in the absence of oxygen, this will happen. Okay, there are two types of anaerobic cellular respiration, and depending on what type of organism you are, you'll either do one or the other. The first is called lactic. Oh, I want to actually put this in peach. Sorry. Lactic acid fermentation. And animals do this type. The other type is called alcoholic fermentation. And an example of an organism that does this would be yeast. So fungi do alcoholic fermentation. Both alcoholic fermentation and lactic acid fermentation occur in the cytoplasm. However, if oxygen is present, then we are going to do aerobic cellular respiration, and this is all going to occur in the mitochondria. So let's get a new color here, and I want teal. So all of these steps, this is going to occur in the mitochondria. The powerhouse of the cell. And it's called the powerhouse of the cell because if cellular respiration occurs in this pathway, we're going to produce so much more ATP. Okay, the first set of reactions after glycolysis, if oxygen is present, are called the prep steps. They are a getting ready set of reactions. Then this is followed by the Krebs cycle. And during the Krebs cycle, 2 ATP are produced. And then the last set of reactions is called electron transport phosphorylation. And during this phase, between 32 and 34 ATP are produced. So if you're doing anaerobic cellular respiration, only 2 ATP are produced per molecule of glucose. But if you're able to do the complete aerobic pathway, then you can get up to 38 molecules of ATP per glucose molecule. So a lot more. Okay, so this is all taking place in the mitochondria, this organelle that's everybody's favorite. Okay, the mitochondria, it kind of looks similar to the chloroplast in that it's got multiple membranes. So I haven't drawn it here, but know that these are all phospholipid bilayers, right? So if we were to zoom in on this membrane, we would see phosphate heads and tails, and then a layer of heads again, and a layer of tails again, with the heads facing out and the tails facing each other inside the membrane. So this is a phospholipid bilayer on the outside of the mitochondria, and then this is another phospholipid bilayer on the inside. This is called the outer membrane. Oops. And this is called the inner membrane. In between the outer membrane and the inner membrane is called the intermembrane space. And inside of the inner membrane is called the matrix. The inner membrane is highly folded because it's folded to maximize the surface area to volume ratio, to get as much surface area as possible inside of the mitochondria, because this is where the major sets of reactions are going to happen. So by maximizing the surface area, we maximize how many reactions can take place. The folds of the mitochondria are called cristae. And the sets of systems that are embedded in the membrane are, just like photosynthesis, we have electron transport systems and ATP synthase. Okay, hopefully the presence of an electron transport system, ATP synthase, and a membrane is telling you that chemiosmosis is going to be involved in this process, which it is. So congrats for recognizing that. Okay, also in the mitochondria, we're not going to talk that much about it, but I think it's kind of cool to know that mitochondria are the results of an ancient archaea cell eating an ancient bacteria. That bacteria was now the modern day mitochondria, but as a result, because it was its own independent living organism, it has some of its own DNA and it has its own ribosomes. Kind of interesting, you get all of your mitochondria from your mother, because you only have mitochondria that become part of you from the egg. Yeah, your mitochondria, you can thank your mom for it. Okay, that is all for this screencast.